Greetings everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Advocate Pule Matselo. If you are new to this channel, the purpose of this channel is to teach South African law and also to teach or preach the Word of God. I just want to thank those who have been part of this channel and even those that have just joined us. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. It's free, and thereafter press the notification button so that you can be aware every time when we load a new video. Today, I am teaching the law on the types of marriages in South Africa, also called marital regimes. The last time in other videos, I think 3 or 2 videos, I spoke about customary marriages. But today I want to talk about the types of marriages and the civil union. There are 2 main types of marriages in South Africa. It's marriage in community of property and marriage out of community of property. Marriage in community of property is the most common one, the most less complicated one, in the sense that when you get married, you agree to share everything. And sharing everything means that you share assets, you share liabilities, you also share debts. You share assets that this person acquired prior to getting married, even the assets that he or she acquired during the existence of the marriage. So whether it's debts, whether it's asset, whether it's prior, whether it's during the marriage, you share everything. For someone, it may be an advantage. For someone, it may be a disadvantage. When can it be a disadvantage? It can be a disadvantage when you want to buy something and you have to get the consent of this other person. You want to buy a house perhaps, and this person doesn't want. So there is no agreement. So that's how it can be a disadvantage. It can also be a disadvantage if you are married to somebody who is very careless with money, who just spends. Because you must remember that you are incurring his debts and you are also incurring his liabilities. So it means that the other party's creditors can also come after you because you are married to this person. I remember a story where somebody was married in community of property and did not know that this gentleman has debts. Within 3 months of their marriage, the creditors started coming out, and this woman's property was nearly repossessed. Now they both had to see to it that these debts are paid. The advantage, in my view, if you are married to somebody in community of property, is that at the time where the marriage dissolves, you share equally. There is equal sharing of the properties. Whatever you have, you share. And another advantage is that there is no need for what is called antenuptial contract. You don't have to enter into any antenuptial contract before you formalize your marriage. Now that is marriage in community of property, where what is yours becomes mine. Whether it's debts, whether it's assets, whether it's liabilities. Now the second type of marriage in South Africa is marriage out of community of property. That's number 2. And this second type, out of cumulative property, there's a 2.1, which is marriage out of cumulative property with accrual, and marriage out of cumulative property without accrual. So the marriage out has 2 subsections to it. And what does marriage out of cumulative property without accrual means? It means that if you get married to this person without accrual, you came to the marriage, you are not sharing with him anything that you acquired before you got married. For example, if before you got married you had a house, because you are marrying out of cumulative property without accrual, that house will belong to you and you alone. The money that you have in the bank accounts belongs to you and you alone. It means that you are starting with this person with properties that will belong to you. But not only that, even inside the marriage, you don't share anything. And you will never share anything. You have separate estates, and there will never be a joint estate. And this is now a situation where you have to draft a contract, which is called the antenuptial contract, whereby you specify in the contract that we are marrying out of cumulative property without accrual. So you go to an attorney who is also a notary, and they help you to draft this contract, and this contract must be registered with the deeds office, whereby when a need arises, it will be produced as a sign that this is the type of marriage that you entered into. Before lobola, before you sign your marriage, this contract must be in place. Don't wait until you are married and then to go and do the antenuptial contract. The disadvantage is that the one who is not financially strong continues to remain financially weak. Well, somebody may say it's not a disadvantage. The advantage is at the time where this marriage dissolves, maybe there is a divorce, there's no complication. If you had a car, you take your car, you know what belongs to you, you retain separate bank accounts. So each of you will remain with their asset. There's no need to go through the process of saying you are dividing the estates. Because from the very beginning until this time, when the marriage is now dissolved, you've never had a joint estate. Now, excuse me, there is another one called it's marriage out of community of property with accrual. Remember, the one that we've just discussed is without accrual. Marriage out of community of property with accrual. What does this one mean? This one means that if you come to marriage, we get married. Whatever you had before you got married remains your property. Again, if you had a house, it is your house because you acquired this house before you get married. If you had a car, if you have some money in the bank accounts, if you had shares, whatever you had remains your own property. You don't share it with anybody. But now, here's the difference. The difference is whatever you acquire from the date of the marriage together. If you got married on the 1st of April, whatever you acquired from that date of your marriage becomes part of the joint estate. So if you buy a house together, it becomes a joint estate. It belongs to both of you. But if you bought a house before the marriage, it becomes yours alone. So in other words, as some people would say, it's like delayed in community of property, in the sense that whatever you acquired prior, it's yours alone. But whatever you acquired or whatever you got from the time, the date of the marriage, that you share. So that will be the distinction between the two. Whether they are, of course, for any type of these marriages, there are advantages and there are disadvantages. But the most important thing is that when you get married, you are aware that there are different types of marriages. There are different reasons why people would opt for one or another. In some instances, there are some people, like maybe a parent who draft a will and say, I bequeath my properties or whatever I have, and then to so and so, who is my daughter or who is my son. It really doesn't matter. And the condition may be maybe on condition that when you get married, this property does not become part of the estate when you get married. Sometimes it may be because, maybe this is your second marriage. You're getting married for the second time. You have children from your first relationship. This is now your second marriage. You have acquired assets and you want these assets to belong to your children because now you're getting married. You want to put something, maybe whatever, into the trust for your children. It's your children's inheritance, which you don't want to bring into the second marriage. I don't know why people decide that, but there are different reasons. But for whatever reason, it is important that you should know that there are different types of marriages. This can be, of course, complicated, people being suspicious. Why you don't want to get married, you get what I mean? Sometimes it's to protect yourselves. You don't know why people want to get married to you because you are a multimillionaire, and so on and so forth. I know that now I'm bringing a whole lot of things, but all what I'm trying to say is that there are options. You can marry in community of property, where you share everything from the first day until the time of a dissolution. You have marriage out of community of property, which can be without accrual or which can be with accrual. I hope this was helpful. I don't want to say a lot of things that may end up confusing you. And thank you very much for listening to this video. And please subscribe. As I said earlier, it's free. And comment and share. Thank you.